Okay, I hope you can hear me now. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the second and last episode of Once Upon a Time with Rinpoche. All right. Today it's going to be about Rinpoche's tough love. And okay, good. Now you can hear me. Good, great. Sorry about that. It was a technical error. Yeah. So basically, what I was saying is that this is going to be the second last episode, and the final episode will be 2 weeks from now, right? So, so we're wrapping up this season. Hopefully, you'll see a comeback, but it depends. All right. So anyway, since today is going to be about Rinpoche's tough love, let me explain a little thing about tough love. All right. How would I put this? Okay. Compassion, a lama's compassion, can be manifested in many ways. All right. It can be manifested in the way of giving gifts through Rinpoche's generosity, through your teacher's generosity. It can be manifested in kind, encouraging words. It can also manifest in the form of scolding. So that's where I'm getting at. All right. So most people have this concept that compassion is someone telling you nice things, showing you a calm demeanor, a passive demeanor, a contemplative demeanor, a contemplative expression. Then you feel, so calm, so peaceful, so compassionate. So that's our general idea of compassion. Okay, but you see, real compassion is not limited to just that. That is compassion, but it's much more than that. So compassion can be expressed in wrathful ways. Wrath, or being fierce, or being forceful, is described as like a mother's love for a child who is naughty, who is doing things that are self-destructive, who is playing with fire. So when you are a mother and your child is playing with fire or doing something that could potentially be harmful, what do? You immediately lunge forward to help the child, stop the child. And sometimes you may have to scold, sometimes you may have to punish as a mother, so that the child learns, learn that it is wrong, learn that it is not right. And that is a manifestation of a mother's compassion, kindness. That's universal in whatever culture, all right? And same thing, a lama's compassion can be manifested even in the form of scolding, just like a mother. But much more than that, of course. A mother is still an ordinary being. Our teacher is steeped in years of meditation practice, contemplation, and so hence their way of scolding, their way of manifesting wrath is more skillful, it's more targeted, and the guru is basically the target of the teaching. The scolding is an adult. All right. So, okay, let me put this. Let's basically, I just wanted to clear that up before we go into Rinpoche's tough love. All right. So, I think many people already have heard that Rinpoche can lose his temper sometimes, can scold sometimes. I mean, I'm sure you've heard some from down. Maybe you've seen in some teaching that Rinpoche was a little fierce in his expressions. And Rinpoche is very, very frank. He's not afraid to tell you, to show you what it is, as it is. Rinpoche is very straightforward. So basically, Rinpoche, how would I put this? It is something that Rinpoche has used in the past with various students, including myself. All right? But when Rinpoche so-called loses his temper or scolds someone, it is not because he's angry, it's not because he is frustrated, it's not because he's lost his temper. It is because that person, the target of the scolding, has done something repeatedly over and over again that's negative. Perhaps lying, perhaps a mind game, avoidance. You know what's avoidance? Is when you do something wrong and you don't want to admit to your mistake. You don't want to admit to your whatever you've done wrong, and you basically say, you kind of deflect it. You kind of sometimes lie. So what happens is, or push the blame to someone else. Usually, the things that makes Rinpoche come to the level of scolding is it doesn't start with that immediately. Of course, Rinpoche would obviously talk to the person first. If it's a student that Rinpoche has just nurtured, so he will just talk to the student first and explain that kind of behavior is not right, and to explain, perhaps sometimes what Rinpoche do is, on many occasions, for many of Rinpoche's students, Rinpoche will sit them down and tell them the origin of why they behave in such a way. All right, that's what Rinpoche has done for many years. I've observed it with Rinpoche doing for others. I've observed it Rinpoche doing for me. All right. So good evening, everybody. Okay, I can see a lot of people now. From Jillian, Esther, Andrew from Indonesia, welcome. Thank you for joining. Jillian again. Christine, Esther just now. Wong Lee Moy, thank you for joining. Hook Peng Tan, I got your right name. Jeffrey. And Sarang Galloway. Oh, that's an interesting name. Sarang Galloway, Sharon, Marcus, and of course Pastor Noral behind the camera on his laptop. Oh, wait. I better do something to my video stream because it's lagging. Okay, anyway. Yeah. So that's what I wanted to explain that about Rinpoche. And usually with Rinpoche, what happens is when he finds something displeasing, he would always talk to the person first. It always starts with peaceful means, obviously. Rinpoche don't immediately, when he sees something is wrong or something is, that the student is doing, he will always say, pass a message. Sometimes Rinpoche don't talk about it first. Sometimes Rinpoche joke about it. Sometimes Rinpoche imply. And initially, then it will come to a point where Rinpoche will talk about it. And then eventually, if it continues on or escalate, it may not be directly the same action, but it can come from the same sort, meaning the same attitude, the same behavioral pattern. Okay, so what Rinpoche would do is Rinpoche will eventually realize this person talking doesn't work, so it has to reach to a point where Rinpoche would have to scold. And when it comes to scolding, Rinpoche is very selective of who Rinpoche scolds. All right. Fortunate and unfortunate for me, I'm always one of the few people that Rinpoche scolds in the past, and that's a fact. And also, what happens is because Rinpoche will see whether the person is ready for that kind of training. We use the word training as in our spiritual journey of Rinpoche. All right. So for old time students of Rinpoche has already established a relationship with the student for many years, and Rinpoche has done a lot. So it's not out of nothing that Rinpoche scolds. Rinpoche has done a lot to help the student to realize things, and Rinpoche has benefited. Rinpoche does things not just one at a go. This student, I helped him one time. You cannot imagine how it is like Rinpoche operate. In a sense that, let's say Rinpoche has like 30 students that Rinpoche is closer to Rinpoche, let's say, and what happens is Rinpoche would work with them in terms of their behavior, in terms of their work, in terms of their Dharma, in terms of their livelihood, in terms of many aspects of their lives. And Rinpoche has that kind of mental capacity to do that and to read things from people that an ordinary person wouldn't. And I can't explain to you what it is. I can only say, give you a word, clairvoyance. Another way is Rinpoche don't like to use that word. Rinpoche will say profiling. And Rinpoche read a lot about a person's character and background and origin of what brought them there, to have that kind of behavioral pattern. So that is not good lah. I mean, everybody have good behavior patterns and bad behavior patterns. Good habits, bad habits. So, but Rinpoche would focus on the negative because that's the role of a teacher. The teacher is not there to praise you and cajole you constantly, to make sure that you are fine, to be always there to give you nice words and give you praise and say, oh, well done. That's not Rinpoche's, that's not a guru's job. That's not what a guru is supposed to do, because it doesn't help our spirituality. It doesn't help our karma. It doesn't help our bad habits, because it doesn't get less. It gets more if Rinpoche was nice. So there are times where Rinpoche needs to challenge our negative habits, our behavior, and point it out. That is the role of a teacher, an assassin of our guru, of ego. That's what a teacher is. So this is the perfect explanation in a nutshell, as an assassin of our ego. Hence, when Rinpoche scolds, he's scolding it for a purpose. He's scolding because our ego and the way it manifests through whatever, whether we're lying. The top few that comes to mind when Rinpoche gets really, really angry is when someone lies, when someone plays mind games, avoidance of responsibility of his work or of his whatever it is that he has promised to do and he didn't. And another one is pushing the responsibility to others. When it's not a valid reason lah. It's not like, when you're sick. Of course, that's something else. But it's when you do it because you're lazy or because you are, some people are just there for you to push the responsibility to them lah. So Rinpoche does not like that. And those are the times where it gets Rinpoche really not happy. So yeah, those are some of the things that Rinpoche. And another thing is that when people are being schismatic, in a sense of schismatic, what's schism? Okay, schism is one type of talk, verbal. Generally, because it's in order to express. Yeah, it's usually verbal. So what happened is when someone expresses certain things that imply about something negative about someone, so everybody developed that wrong view about that person. Whether it's like, it can be this person is smelly, then everybody starts to think, oh, this person is smelly, so we start to avoid this person. So that is schismatic talk, because you spread this among people. And the point is to create dissension. The point is to create biasness against one person, and Rinpoche doesn't like that as well. All right. If you have any questions, just let me know. I mean, you can just be upfront. I just see good evenings and folded hands, so I'm just. So yeah, with regards to this, I mean, if you have any questions regarding this or anything about Rinpoche in general, is fine as well, right? So, but today's topic is about tough love, and so Rinpoche would highlight those qualities in a person. Initially, personally, initially in a nice way, initially with personal advice. Countless persons, even when Rinpoche scolds, and to be honest, when Rinpoche scolds, it's always interspersed. Rinpoche will say in between, he will give advice, personal advice to the person that this kind of behavior will create this is result. Sometimes Rinpoche will fast forward in the sense that he will say, this is going to happen to you. You'll be lonely, you will not have friends, or your work will not be successful, or whatever perhaps you have a goal in mind will not come to fruition. So perhaps your position, maybe if the person has a certain responsibility, they will not be able to fulfill it because of the way they act. Especially if people in positions of authority, they have to act in a certain way to inspire others. And Rinpoche is also another one that is would express that to that person, and have to ensure that the leaders of Kechara would work in a certain way, all right, to help people, nurture people. And Rinpoche is very, very protective. All I can think of is like Rinpoche is always hyper alert to people in Kechara and how they interact with each other, from what he can hear and what he can see, and how to handle situations with regards to people who are disruptive. All right, so generally, when Rinpoche is upfront, when Rinpoche is unhappy, he will express it directly, and kind of like just saying, "Oh, this is the problem. What can we do about it?" All right. So this is what it is. Okay. Hi, Mr. Lam, Andre, Yik Ming, King Hoi, Frontline, Renee, Mary Turner from Colorado, and then there's a question from Andre. Pardon me, Pastor, I have a question about the paranormal zone. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Oops, it jumped. That affiliated with Kechara, does she have unique experience about Rinpoche's tough love? You mean as in Lee Kim you're talking about? Or are you talking about JP Tong? Both have. They do have, definitely. Okay, and Marcus says, I've heard that when a Lama scolds a student, that's considered good because they're either teaching the student something important or they're purifying their karma. That's true, right? Okay. In the scriptures, when the Lama scolds you, all right, what it is actually purification of our karma. It is to point out our negative faults. It is to train us to practice the 8 verses, to practice lessening our attachment to pleasant words, to train us to be more alert, compassionate. Being alert and sensitive to our guru's needs and wishes is a training for us to be more compassionate, because it begins somewhere. It begins with being alert and understanding. Compassion starts from there. We need to be aware of people's suffering, other people's condition, problems, and sufferings. Then we can be more compassionate. If you're not even aware, which is most of us are right now, we're not really truly aware how people are suffering, or how other beings are suffering. That's why we are unable to manifest full compassion. All right. In order to be compassionate, you need to start with alertness, awareness. All right. So anyway, So it is purified, and it is said that in the scriptures. I read somewhere that I don't know which scripture right now. If you ask me, I can't recall. But it is. You have to visualize your lamas scolding like wrathful mantras, purifying our karma, forcefully purifying our karma quickly and cleanly. So that's in the scriptures lah. But what I was trying to explain is Rinpoche's intention, how he handles students and train. For me personally, Rinpoche, when I'm lazy, I have to be very honest. When I'm lazy, because I'm a lazy person, and when I sometimes I slack in my responsibility, I'll get a scolding, definitely. When I am, there's another thing is when I am very tired, very hungry. Sometimes I'm a little irritable. Whether it's expressed or not, I'm not aware sometimes. But Rinpoche will make sure I'm aware, because I'll get scolded for looking hungry, looking sleepy, or looking grumpy. So those are the times I can recall offhand right now, where the times I got scolded by Rinpoche, because I'm not aware of myself, my body language. And being with Rinpoche for many years, Rinpoche does trained me to be more alert and trained me to take more, especially when I'm sleepy. Because when I'm sleepy, I just let caution throw, to the wind and whatever, So, but the interesting thing is when I'm scolded by Rinpoche, immediately I become very alert. So Rinpoche pointed out once that, see, you can be alert. So that's what Rinpoche's message at that moment. He wasn't really wanting to scold me because he's not happy with my appearance. Is that when he scolded me, he noticed that immediately I can be alert. Actually, it's just that I've not pushed myself. So that's what Rinpoche is lesson and teaching to me. So in times when you are compassionate, even when you're tired, Rinpoche told me, even when you're tired, you have to push yourself. You push yourself because it's not for yourself, it's for others. Okay, that was my experience in a nutshell. Okay, and okay, here's what Sharon says. Dishing out tough love is really hard, and even as a parent, it can get really exhausting after a while. Rinpoche has done it so many times, tirelessly and lovingly. It just proves to me that Rinpoche's love is truly unconditional, and it's always about our well-being, be it body, mind, or spiritual practice. Okay, there's one more thing that I would like to bring forward regards to scoldings, okay? Rinpoche calls it a BF. If you don't know what that stands for, you just have to watch the movie White Chicks. It's a comedy, okay? But it has that's where we got the term from, BF. Okay, anyway, one of the purposes that Rinpoche scolds is to purify karma. And Rinpoche does not say, oh, I'm going to purify your karma and that's why you're going to get a scolding now. And then he starts scolding. No, he doesn't do that. It will arise from a reason. Perhaps you made a mistake. Perhaps you were sleepy like me. Perhaps you couldn't, I don't know. There was in one time Rinpoche asked me for what to eat, and I for the life of me, I couldn't think of any idea. And it went on and on for quite a while, and then Rinpoche finally scolded me because, I wasn't thinking. I was just, because I was sleepy and tired, so it overwhelmed me. So I just, So during that time, the reason seems small. Okay, of course, in the process of it, there's a lesson to be learned in the sense that I can push myself in a way to be compassionate, to extend my compassion to others, and etc. etc. That's the teaching. Then on top of that, there is purification. Sometimes, if it's done to a person, it can be a personal purification. Sometimes it can be a collective purification, like to several students for a department. And what we have noticed is after a scolding, obviously it's not just one. It's not going to be a short one. It's a long one. I won't tell you how long, but you can imagine. So what happens is we are facing, the department or the organization is facing a particular obstacle. Okay, this is my observation over the years. After that, or if there's going to be an event, after that, we'll notice that the event will be unusually successful, or the obstacle will be cleared, or will be solved, or will be mitigated easily. And Rinpoche has never directly said it, except one time I heard Rinpoche say it. I did hear it. I heard it from someone else who told me that sometimes Rinpoche had a purpose in doing that, and it's like a puja, because at that time we either don't have the funds to do the puja, or we don't have the time to do the puja ourselves because we are busy with the work. So Rinpoche does this to purify it, and that is one of the abilities that is beyond just a teaching. Okay, it's purification that a Lama who has obviously attained, of course Rinpoche would never say, oh, I'm attained and that's why I'm doing this, or he will never intimate that he's attained. Never, ever, ever Rinpoche will ever admit to it, but his actions come out that way. It just shows you his attainments, because How else, I mean, if I'm your, if I'm your brother or I'm your parent and I scold you, definitely I'm not going to purify any karma. I'm actually just adding to my negative karma because I'm pissed off. It's different for a lama. All right, a lama who practices no ego. So when he scolds, when a lama practices no ego, when he scolds, and if you're lucky, if he slaps or he beats you up, which I've never seen Rinpoche done anything. But he has slapped me before, to be honest, once. So what happens is he's able to purify your karma. It's an incredible ability that it borders on like wow, it's what you hear, what you read about in books about attained lamas. And if you have a spirit or you have a spirit affliction, the spirit will be long gone, and you'll be cured. They will not. The spirit will not come back. They will not dare. Okay, they will not dare. All right. So that is the other dimension to Rinpoche's tough love. When he expressed anger, is to purify a particular karma of the student, and which is incredible because you see, because of our work and what we are trying to accomplish in Kechara, which is to benefit people. So there's a lot of obstacles, to be honest, to be absorbed, and but we don't in the amount of obstacles that come our way. Normally, it would require a lot of pujas and a lot of funds, and either the pujas to purify karma can be done a few ways. One way is to send the money, big sums of money to the monasteries to do non-stop pujas, various types of pujas, and dedicate it to us. Okay, to our obstacle, to purify our obstacle. Sorry, dedicate to us, but to purify our obstacle. All right. Another way is for us to do practice, formal practice, like enter into a retreat or do massive pujas ourselves. And either one, it requires funds, one requires time. Okay, but because we are trying to establish an organization, and also Rinpoche has a lot of work and a lot of, because when it comes to Rinpoche, right? How would I put it this way? The normal amount of work we think is normal for a person, for Rinpoche, is very little. Okay, it's very little. He's so little done to benefit others. Because if Rinpoche had his full way, he would work even harder to spread even more, to do much more to benefit more people. And every time, because this is something I hear all the time, Rinpoche always say that he's not doing enough. There's not enough done. And he's part of the reason also is because he's just one person, and there's this amount of resources, meaning people, that can help. And so if he had much more, he'll be able to do much more. So Rinpoche's mind and dimension of helping others is huge. It's huge. It's just huge. And hence, because of the way Rinpoche operate, so there's a lot of issues that come along with it, in a sense of obstacles, in a sense of, so some part of the reasons why Rinpoche also have to highlight a lot of issues and problems through scolding. Firstly, is definitely our own spiritual development. Secondly, is the development of the organization as a whole. All right, that's my point actually. Okay, let me see what else. Hello, Kanun. Thank you for joining. Marcus says, I remember reading somewhere on Rinpoche's blog that his root guru, Song Rinpoche, who was a Rafu Lama, would even trash some of his students and hit them in front of the other monks as well. I thought it was interesting. No. Okay, the story is like this. Apparently, the two monks, all right, one was the guilt. The Song Rinpoche was unhappy about an issue that's the responsibility of one monk, but that monk didn't get it. It was the other monk who got it. So Song Rinpoche brought him in and scolded him and accused him of blah 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 blah, and then beat him and then chased him out. And apparently, they both had health issues. The one that didn't get it, right? What happened was he passed away. That's what I remember, if I remember correctly, the story. And no, correct story, something like that, right? So what it was said that the monk who had the karma to be blessed by Tsem Rinpoche to purify his karma was beaten to purify his karma, because otherwise he would pass away. The other one didn't have, so he passed away. If did he pass away, the other one?
I'm not sure if he passed away or was just really
very ill lah. He got really ill, and if so that, sorry, my recollection is not there yet, but it's something along those lines one. But the point of the story is not who or what. The point of the story, when Tsem Rinpoche scolds someone, beats someone, he's able to purify the karma. He has that what is known as the power of mantra. All right, so when he scolds, it is huge purification. Because there's one time Rinpoche said that they are bringing a lady who is totally possessed and berserked, to have audience to Tsem Rinpoche, and Tsem Rinpoche just sat down in front of the lady, and she's like screaming away in mid possession. And all Tsem Rinpoche did was he just recited some mantras on his mala, and then when he stopped, and he glared at the lady, and he scolded the being inside. Who are you? How dare you come here? Get out! That's what he said. And then the spirit, and then she just collapsed. So at that moment, she collapsed. And then when she came to again, apparently she's normal already. The spirit is left, and the spirit never came back. Okay, so that was Tsem Rinpoche lah. Is tough love similar to unconditional love? You mean what? Similar to unconditional? No, tough love is just an expression of compassion that is on the ruffle side. All right, I'm trying to say ruffle compassion, but I think the tough love is an easier, more relatable for people to say. I just say tough love. So unconditional is an aspect of compassion as well. I would say that, I mean, it is kind of it is unconditional, but it's what we're trying to highlight is this, that the way it's expressed, the way compassion is expressed. Unconditional is not an expression of compassion. It's not an expression of compassion, but it's an aspect of compassion. I hope I made it. I hope I didn't confuse you guys, because I'm also trying to sort it out in my mind, because it's to do words. Because compassion can be expressed peacefully, skillfully, roughly. Okay, roughly means what? Roughly means more direct, more forcefully, scolding. In some cases, some lamas, Rinpoche included, sometimes beating, slappings, And normally, if a person who doesn't know anything and walks into a lama doing that, they think, oh, the lama is crazy. The lama is not compassionate at all. Why is the lama scolding someone? Why is the lama beating up someone? But he's purifying their karma. All right, a qualified lama can do that. Okay, so don't you guys, any of you, start saying, oh, I'm practicing unconditional compassion, rafu compassion, slap. Okay, no, don't do that. Okay, Andre says, when still in his human form, was Namkha Basin wrathful nature actually kind of love? In human form, Namkha Basin. Okay, I really, I have no idea, because of his level of attainments. Namkha Basin is not enlightened. I believe he is somewhat kind of definitely more attained than you and me, I think. Definitely a learned monk. Definitely a learned monk. At that time, he was a monk, And whether he had, the point is not whether he has tough love or not. The point is that the idea is for people to understand, when a Lama expresses wrath in his teachings to his students, it is an expression of compassion. That's what I'm trying to convey here. All right, so we don't have to go around seeing whether when some deities or some saints, when they express that, whether it is or not, it depends on the level of attainment. So, and actually more not the attainments, is their intention. Okay, the intention, not attainment. Sorry, my mistake. Their intention. Why I say intention? You don't need to be attained to be compassionate, to be kind to someone, to be direct to someone. Sometimes some people need to be told forcefully, but it's obviously we need to do it with skill. We need to be, if we're going to scold someone, we need to have some sort of relationship with the person, to understand the person before you can scold the person. You don't just go up to a random colleague or random relative and say, I don't like what I heard, blah 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 blah. Then that's just anger from our side. Okay, that's just anger. It's unskillful. It's anger, and it's not very beneficial, and it might backfire. Okay, so it's your intention and how you practice skillfulness. All right, with regards to that. So this is not to say that all of us should go around expressing ourselves and angrily in rough manner because Rinpoche has done it. We are not Rinpoches. We are not a guru. We are just an ordinary practitioner. And I guess in a way, if you want to practice tough love, we have to see what is the right conditions to do so. And usually it is when we are, have a rapport with the person. Rapport means some sort of relationship with the person, in a sense of we know this person, and we have benefited this person. Most important, we have benefited the person. We have tried all means before using wrath. Ordinarily for us, we have tried all means. Meaning we talk to the person, we try to help the person, we try to, to do all sorts of things before we resort to that. You don't just go around scolding and beating people up. No, you of course have, in order to help people, we of course have to exhaust all other means first. Even Rinpoche said it himself. When he resorts to wrath, it is the last resort. It is not the first thing he uses. All right. So this is just to make you guys clear, all right? I just want to make sure. Okay. All right. With regards to Rinpoche, there are many times when Rinpoche has expressed. Sometimes what happens is one of the things that gets Rinpoche really down with his students, with his friends, is people do not fulfill what they have promised. And this is not directly related to wrath or tough love, but this is part of it. In a sense that it gets Rinpoche really depressed. It gets Rinpoche really upset at times because how Rinpoche expressed it in the past is he doesn't understand. He doesn't understand how people can just say and promise one thing and do something else, especially when it comes to spiritual commitments with one's teacher, with one's Dharma brother or sister, and or with regards to one's practice. We all promise and promise, but we don't fulfill our promise. And sometimes we sweep it under the rug, we forget it, we sweep it, or we are in denial. Worse still is we're in denial, or we play mind games. Rinpoche, I don't know if this is a correct term, but Rinpoche had coined this term mind games because he's noticed that in many people, his students and friends, where they don't want to take responsibility of their wrongs, the things they have done wrong, and they avoid it, and they will cook up a story and things like that. So it's a mind game. So This is something Rinpoche had noticed, and it gets Rinpoche upset. All right, so it is good to hear, and this is the reality, because it's not all rosy in paradise. I find I'm sorry I have to say it and express it this way, and but this is how it is. So Rinpoche had to go through a lot of this, and in fact, if you have been a avid listening to Rinpoche's teachings, you pick it up in some of his teachings. Rinpoche would express it. Rinpoche is very direct. He will just say it because sometimes people need to hear it, and he interject and relate it to a teaching he's given by giving examples of how someone don't fulfill what they said they will do, or some kind of, and the result of that, or what led to that, the negative emotions. Rinpoche will express it, and then he will weave it into the teaching very skillfully. If you don't know, you will think it's part of the teaching, but for the person, they'll pick it up. Oh, Rinpoche is talking about me, about why I didn't do what I'm supposed to do, or what made me become like that, or behave in that way, in that manner. So that's what Rinpoche would do, and many times a lot of the teachings themselves are inspired by various examples of his students and friends. Rinpoche have lots of students, lots of friends, and Rinpoche get a ton of fan mail, no, not fan mail, letters, emails, cards, gifts, apologies, and people apologizing for not doing what they're supposed to do, not fulfilling their promises, not keeping up with what they promised to do, with regards to their spiritual commitments, with regard to Dharma work, with regard to whatever they had promised in the past. And that's part of what Rinpoche had to go through as a Lama, and that was actually what was inspired Rinpoche but he never did come up with it, which is it was actually Rinpoche had planned it to be a book of what he experienced and what people have been heaping on him with regards to disappointments, and and that was one of the factors that made Rinpoche quite depressed, upset, and it weighs him down over the years. All right, so it is good for us to hear this. It is good for you guys to hear, whether you are in Dharma, not in Dharma, whether you are near Kechara, in Kechara, or far away from Kechara. It is good for you guys to hear, so that you realize that, for you to realize that this is part of Dharma, this is part of spirituality. It is that when we promise something, we should fulfill. It is one of the key messages in many, many, many of Rinpoche's teachings. Fulfill your promise. If you promise your teacher to do something small, something trivial, like make a bowl of 7 offerings, make an offering of 7 bowls a day, a water to the Buddhas, to the 3 jewels, then you just do it. Make it into a habit. If you promise to do your sadhana, make it a habit. All of us are lazy. You think Rinpoche is not lazy? Rinpoche has tons of sadhana to do. You think he's not lazy? He would rather watch movies. But he has the willpower, practice, devotion to his teachers, that he will do it every single day without fault, without miss. So it's something, that should inspire us. So if we have promised to do, and we should do it. And if Rinpoche has said many of you guys would probably have not much instructions from Rinpoche, or probably have no instructions at all from Rinpoche, and you think, I don't have to do anything. Then if you want to gain insight into whatever you have heard in the teachings in Lamrim and all, it will be very difficult. So what happens is, it will be good for us to follow some instructions, some general instructions, like a sadhana. Rinpoche has given sadhanas to a general sadhana for everyone, which is Dodi Shudan and Lama Tsongkhapa, Guru Yoga combined. All right, so it's things like that, when we do it every single day, it will be very beneficial. It's not a Guru Yoga to Rinpoche. Although there is a Guru Rinpoche, but that's not the purpose of it. The Guru Yoga or Lama Tsongkhapa, or the Guru Yoga of Tsem Rinpoche, is meant to purify karma, accumulate merits, and transform our mind. That's the purpose. We get the benefit. Rinpoche does not. Rinpoche does not get the benefit. We get the benefit. Whatever Dharma work we promise to do and we do it, we get the benefit. Some people, Rinpoche has been purposely telling them, you have to do Dharma work. You must do Dharma. So it's uncharacteristic of Rinpoche to do that, but he has done it before. And to some students and friends. And too bad, some listened, some didn't. And those that listened, those that didn't listen, I can in my mind, I have someone in mind. They didn't do it, and they didn't live very long. And my point in telling you this is not to tell you that, because they didn't do Dharma work, then they didn't live long. No. Rinpoche said that's not it. The message of this is that Rinpoche insisted that they do Dharma work is so that they can collect merit while they still can. While there's still time. Sometimes Rinpoche get this premonition, so just follow. So what happens is when we collect the merit, when we go, then there's something to fall on in our next life that can lead us to a good rebirth, a good situation, to continue with the work, with our spiritual practice. The work is spiritual practice. All right? So if we have promised to do a Dharma work, we should by hook or crook do it. If it's not Dharma work doesn't necessarily mean you have to come to Kechara and be hired by Kechara. We don't have probably resources to hire every single person on this planet or all members of Kechara. But what we can do is we can do voluntary work. We can do some sort of Dharma learning retreats. All right, for those who have promised to do Dharma work and they have not been able to fulfill it, do some. Don't just give it up if you haven't fulfilled your promise. Okay, let's see what this. There's something from Sharon here. It's quite. Once I had the privilege to witness Rinpoche's tough love helping a Dharma brother fight his inner and outer demons. To an outsider, it might look scary or wrathful, but in actual fact, it was an act of extreme compassion. Today, this Dharma brother is doing well and a beneficial member of the organization that I respect. Wow, that's nice. Yeah. Rinpoche has done this many, many times, and for many, many people. Some people are receptive, some people are not. And those that are receptive, they remain. Actually, the reason why Rinpoche would scold them in the first place is because they are receptive. There are some people who Rinpoche has never ever scolded, always only praise, give gifts. There's some students, and still those students left, to be honest. Yes, I have real people in mind, but obviously for I don't want to be sued by these people, okay? Of course, I cannot name names or even hint in any way, but they have never, I was there all the time. They have never, those to the left, right? There's most of them, not all of them, but most of them have never even, Rinpoche have never even raised their voice with some of them. Okay, some Rinpoche did, but it's not much. Sorry, comparatively not much. I used to think, why is it like that? I was a bit resentful, to be honest, in the past, because the time, in the heat of things, you just feel it, in a sense that why don't Rinpoche scold them? They're doing like that. Why don't Rinpoche do something? So and why for the smallest thing I always get it. I'll just be honest. That's what happened to me. So the very smallest mistake I make, I get it big time. And then and then with these people, Rinpoche is all nice and always giving gifts, always praising them, always taking them out and blah blah blah, and they seem to be the time of their lives, and then of course, they also judgmentally look at me and say, well, anyway, sorry. So, but I realize in hindsight, of course, I realize that Rinpoche will see who is receptive. I like this word, I just came out with it, receptive to Rinpoche's tough love. Receptive means we would listen to the message, not the tone. Because if these people who didn't, I mean, they've left anyway. Can you imagine if Rinpoche actually scolded them? They would leave much earlier and did less Dharma work. Even for the people who have left Kechara, there are not tremendously a lot, but they are. And these people, very fortunate for them, while they were with Rinpoche, they did incredible amount of Dharma work. Incredible. Rinpoche has the ability to make us do Dharma work and enjoy it and want it. And yeah, so with these people, they did Dharma work because some of them, I noticed they haven't done anything remotely Dharma in a long, long time since Kechara. So, and even if some of them, I don't know if any of them do, I just didn't notice lah, but it's social media lah, okay, so it's easy to see. So some of you are wondering. So anyway, my point is not to gossip about these people. My point is to point out why some people leave, some people don't, and the subject of people of tough love from Rinpoche, scoldings, direct advice, fierce scolding advice from Rinpoche, and it is Rinpoche's compassion. And some people are receptive, some people are not. But this is how Rinpoche is. And Rinpoche always wants to keep things real. It's a very Western expression, keep things real, in a sense of being direct, in a sense of not beating around the bush, in a sense of not having to be more polite, so that we students can accept the teachings or to accept Dharma work or accept doing this. So Rinpoche is very, very straightforward and all the time. All right, in a way, that's a very Western thing as well. It's part of Rinpoche's Western upbringing in a way that that's also part of how Rinpoche expressed his compassion. All right. Let me know if you have any questions before I will end this session. As I said before, I was the recipient of many, many, many incredible, what do I call it? Scoldings over the years, because I've been Rinpoche for a long time. Actually, in hindsight, I always wondered. There are many times I wanted to leave. To be honest, I even told Rinpoche. There was one time many years ago, I told Rinpoche, there are some days I told Rinpoche that, I told Rinpoche once that there are many days I think about leaving. And then Rinpoche just said, why did you stay? I just said, I don't know. I said that, I don't know. That time I said, I don't know. There are two times I remember, sorry. There are two times I told Rinpoche this, I thought of leaving. One time, first one, this is years ago. Then Rinpoche just basically told me, he just sat me down and he said, look, you will not leave. You will stay, you will face whatever issues you have with me and move on. Rinpoche talked to me very kindly, very calmly, and he told me that. Then the second time, I told Rinpoche this. I didn't say, I wanted to leave. I just said, this is how it went. I just said, why? I just, sometimes, because I was a bit frustrated inside, I think Rinpoche sensed it, so he asked me, he kept questioning me, what am I thinking, what I'm thinking. So in the end, I just said it. I said, I just wonder, why does it have to always to be this hard? I told Rinpoche, why does it have to be this hard? And then Rinpoche said, you don't have to be here. Rinpoche just told me, you do not need to be. I hold nobody in my ladrang, in my organization at ransom. Anybody is free to go. So that's what he told me. And I'm sure he said, you want to go for your holidays, don't you? Many years you have been with me. Of course, you're fantasizing going on holidays. And yeah, Rinpoche told me that. And then I don't want to say this, it's a bit touching for me because at the time I was very, very frustrated. I really, really, and Rinpoche, when he said about going on holidays, he didn't just stop at just the word holiday. He described the holidays and places where I probably wanted to go and enjoy myself and, forget about work, forget about Kechara for a while. And Rinpoche said, actually, yeah, you can go and do all that. And then, we can still remain friends. We can meet once in a while. And you don't have to be here all the time. And that's what Rinpoche told me. And this is not a scolding at all. Rinpoche was very calm, but I've sensed something's wrong. I said big time something's wrong. I said, oh, okay. I realized where this is getting at, and I just told Rinpoche that this is just my thoughts and my feelings, and for that moment because I'm just tired. And I told Rinpoche that, and I said, I can do that. Yes, I would like to do all that, but I rather not, because there's a lot of issues here that needs to be resolved, and I have to be here. I have to be here with you. So that's why I remain. And it was tough because I don't want to say this but it's many, many years. You have no idea because I'm one of the people that remain from the quite for a long, long time with Rinpoche. I see people come, people go, people come, people go. And sometimes, of course, there are days that I'm down So those are one of the days. And that was after I got that all this happened after a scolding obviously. I can't remember what the scolding was because there's so many I have in the past that you have no idea. Oh, this thing from JC Go is interesting. Rinpoche consoles students dearly when the person need it and never let go of anyone. Once connected, will never let go. Very nice, very nicely said. And I should have said that, but yeah, that's what Rinpoche does. When students go, Rinpoche, don't like that. No, Rinpoche is constantly thinking about them, asking people, various students who are in contact with them, what they're thinking, how they're doing. Rinpoche is genuinely concerned. Everybody who left, everybody who is still with Rinpoche, all the time. Rinpoche is always asking. You just don't know. Rinpoche is just always want to know what's happening with people and whether they need help, whether they're doing okay. Of course, if they're doing okay, then Rinpoche is at peace lah. If they're not doing okay, then Rinpoche see what he can do to help. That's how Rinpoche works. And I don't know how to explain this to you, but it was very weird. There was one time, this is not related to this, but it's to do with consoling. There's one time I got a really bad scolding from Rinpoche. And of course, it's one of those scoldings that happened that was very bad one lah, And then what happened was when I went to sleep that night, it was really weird because I had a dream of Rinpoche. And Rinpoche was consoling me in the dream. And then I woke up feeling better, I felt better, and I was like, oh no. But then it dawned on me. I realized it's a dream. So anyway, yeah. So then another thing. This leads to another topic that I wanted to say before I end. It is in a sense that one of the things that Rinpoche wants his students, especially his closest students, and he scolds and he makes sure that when we make a mistake, firstly, we have to be upfront about it. We have to be direct about it. Don't play mind games. Don't avoid. And this is something that Rinpoche always advocates for his students. If you've done something wrong, just admit that you have done something wrong. No one is perfect. In fact, many, many potential scoldings and blow up was immediately resolved because I just said, Rinpoche, that was me. And Rinpoche said, Rinpoche was generally angry before because he didn't know who it was. Then when he heard it was me and I was upfront about it, Rinpoche just, okay, so what are you going to do about it? So yes, that comes to the next point, which is making amends. Fix the problem. A lot of people don't do that. When they've done something wrong to damage someone, disappoint someone, they just And that's not dharmic. That's not a Dharma student. That's not a Dharma practitioner. Rinpoche always tells us, if you want to practice Dharma, that's not how you do it. If you made a mistake, make amends. Apologize. And don't apologize, just apologize. Okay, that didn't come out right. Don't apologize and that's it. Okay? Don't just say sorry and do nothing about it. Worse still, don't say sorry and repeat the same thing. That's worse. That's even worse. Okay? So instead of repeating do something to fix the problem. Let's say if you keep forgetting to do something, have a reminder. Like what you can do now with modern phones, you can put reminders on your phone. Okay? That is making amends. Saying sorry, giving a gift to a person you disappointed. Show that it's not just a sorry, show that you mean it. That's what Rinpoche would like his students to do. And not just avoid it, not just pretend like it never happened, because most of the time when we pretend that it never happened, it will happen again. That's just human behavior. All right? So that's how Rinpoche, so when we've done a mistake, firstly is to be upfront. Rinpoche really hates it when we go around, beat around the bush, we say this, actually to avoid admitting that we made a mistake. So I've learned the hard way for many, many times and realized, okay, that doesn't work. So I just tell Rinpoche, no matter how angry Rinpoche is at the moment, I just admit it. I rather Rinpoche scold me for that than after going round, and then Rinpoche scold. You mean you've been lying all this while? Rinpoche was like, he'll get even more pissed off because not only you made a mistake, you did some damage or whatever, you somehow lied about it. That's even double whammy worse. So just be upfront, just say, Sometimes I stutter when I say it, but I just say it. Sometimes I just say it in a squeak because I'm afraid Rinpoche is going to scold me. Because I respect Rinpoche so much, I'm actually afraid. Because if it's anyone, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of anyone at all. But I'm afraid of Rinpoche because I respect him so much. All right? So, but the idea about devoting to a teacher is not just keeping our respect for just one person, is to extend to everyone. So we have to have equal respect for all. If you want to practice Dharma, really genuinely practice the Dharma, then you have to extend your respect to all beings, which means that when you make a problem for someone, then you have to make amends, say sorry, make amends. And for some people, just to say sorry is also going to be a massive, what do you call this? Massive achievement for some people. Yeah, there are people like that. Definitely, I'm sure everybody will know someone like that. I'm sure. Just saying sorry is a massive achievement. Start there at least. But that's not enough. Many occasions is not enough because it can be repeated. Okay, the thing is when you repeat it, you already hurt someone, disappointed someone, and then you repeat it. It hurts them even more. And that Rinpoche over the years had tried to teach us that through scolding, to make sure we realize that when we disappoint someone, we scold, we damage someone, we have to take responsibility for it, lah. All right, okay. Rinpoche consoles students. Okay, I read that, right? Thank you very much. That was a very, very good one, JC Go. And the next one is Sharon. Sharon says, Rinpoche still prays, does offerings, and cares about people who have left, even those who have hurt and disappointed Rinpoche. Oh yeah, definitely. Thank you. That's a good one too. Yeah, Rinpoche actually, there's some students, Rinpoche actually does divination, ask Dorje Shugden whether he should go and talk to them and bring them back, and there are many occasions though you should say it was not necessary at this time. It will not be fruitful. So Rinpoche didn't because of Dorje Shugden's advice. Okay, so for some students and but actually Rinpoche is always thinking about them all the time. There's some students Rinpoche always thinking that's the Rinpoche had developed some relationship with certain students, and unfortunately there have been disruptive, I would say. All right. All right. So, if you have any last thoughts and any last wishes to say, to express or questions, do let me know now. And then otherwise we'll. And the whole point about this session is to express tough love, and of Rinpoche's, and all of us can, to a certain extent, do it, but not to the level of how Rinpoche does it. So how we can do it, I've already expressed. We have to firstly exhaust all means, peaceful means, talking to the person, cajoling the person, trying talking to other people. Then we go into the last resort, which is be more aggressive, scolding, or whatever it is, that is necessary. Okay, so for Rinpoche, he does it because he has developed huge relationships with many of his students. Spiritual relationships, I'm talking about. Spiritual relationships, yes. And with many of his students, that he's able to employ that method rather successfully most of the time. All right. And on many occasions, we ourselves have observed that it's not just a lesson, not just a teaching, not just a training, it is purification as well. Okay, for us, we are very, very blessed for those who have experienced it. And so we're trying to express this to you, to show you Rinpoche's attainments in an indirect manner, because he's able to do that and purify our karma, avert many obstacles for many of his students, and on top of that, develop the organization through training his students. Because we notice a lot of positive things that come out of when Rinpoche scolds. It's not negative, it's positive things. I mean, beyond just, we've changed and transformed ourselves, we cut off one bad habit. No, it's beyond that. It's more than that. All right, the benefits that come out of it. All right, and that's all I have to say at the moment. Thank you very much for joining me, and I hope I've give you a deeper insight into Rinpoche, one aspect of Rinpoche's teachings and compassion. All right. Okay, for this week, we have a number of sponsors. All right. Okay, where is it? I bet sorry. Some weeks I forgot to read out the sponsorship, so I think I better do it this week. So there's only 2 more sessions. The next one will be about Kechara Forest Retreat. Okay, I think I'll just go on WhatsApp, it'll be easier. Okay, the first sponsor is from Mr. Lam and family, with the dedication of His Eminence Tsem Rinpoche returned to Kechara Forest Retreat swiftly to turn the wheel of Dharma. And then the second one is an anonymous sponsor with the dedication, may His Eminence the 25th Tsem Rinpoche's incarnation return to Kechara Forest Retreat soon. And then the third one is from Lily, with the dedication to pray for Rinpoche's swift return to turn the wheel of Dharma. And then the fourth one, there's a fourth sponsor, which is from Christina. All right, so I'm going to do dedication now and dedicate on behalf of the sponsor and for those listening. All right. Jaju Sanjo Rinpoche, Maki Panangi Yushe, Keba Yamami Payang, Gone Godo Pewasho, Tony Tonga Rinpoche, Maki Panangi Yushe, Keba Yamami Payang, Gone Godo Pewasho, Dazo Jene Sapage Wadi, Tanandroa Gunla Campada, Jebo Jozo Loson Drapai, Tamping Borendo Sa Sho, Kewa Gundo Yana Lamadan, Dremi Joki Pala Long Chochin, Sada Langi on Terrachoni, Toji Changi Go Bang Yutosho, Gewadi Yudoda, Lama Sange Juni, Joachi Malu. De sala go pa cho ju jabo song ga pa cho so na ma pe wa la ge ge sha ma ji wa da tu ni ma lo sha cho da shen ge do sun da jo wa shla te ni ge wa lo san drop pa ye tam pa yin ba gyu je ni mo da la san ta la ni me go in direction ya san ta tu da la pa control so jin gyu lo control so yin go do so control so ta shi sho je su na ma kut so rap den chen nam ka chin ni shu gyu ge pa dang lo san te me jo yin samsung ge jo mo so ta tu ne gyu je gan ri ra we ko wa shin gam den pen den de wa ma lo kyong wa Chen Rezik One Tenzin Gasoy, Shabi City Badu Dan Yuji, Hong Tombing Ojo Malupa, Dene Dala Sanaso, Koran Temple Lochana, gave us Zoshi shook themselves. Thank you and good night.